Hello students, welcome to the another video session. I am Sanidhi S. Bandari from ASC Independent PU College, Department of Biology. Today we will know what is greenhouse effect and global warming. As you might expect from the name, greenhouse effect works like a greenhouse. A greenhouse is a building with glass walls and a glass roof. Greenhouses are used to grow plants such as tomatoes and tropical flowers, etc. A greenhouse stays warm inside even during the winter. In the daytime, sunlight shines into the greenhouse and warms the plant and air inside. At night time, it's colder outside, but the greenhouse stays pretty warm inside. That's because the glass walls of the greenhouse trap the sun's heat. You can see in this picture, green in a greenhouse, or the name greenhouse, the green something relates to the plant and house is a chamber, or in simple it is a house to the plants which are inside. You might have seen this commonly in Lalbagh. I think most of you would have seen this. This process is really pretty good in a winter season or when the temperature is low. What happens exactly is, or the effect what is happening here is, think here is a light source, that is the sun. Here if it is the light source, the sun is emitting its radiation, or the light is getting in to this chamber. When the light is getting into this chamber will not allow to the light to go back. This glass chamber will trap the sunlight. This is trapping the sunlight and it is not possible for the sunlight to go outside again. When there is only sunlight that is getting in, it is making the temperature warmer inside, and the plants can grow well even in a cold season, because once the light is going in, the heat energy is trapped inside, making the place warmer. This is the simple concept of greenhouse. Now, why are we taking this example is, this greenhouse what is here, it is compared to the globe or the earth. And the plants which are inside is compared to all the human beings, maybe the microorganism or whole ecosystem. It is compared to the whole ecosystem which is present, and this greenhouse acts as a earth or the globe. This is a simple concept. There is another example given here. The example of greenhouse effect is, the sun's energy passes through the car's windshield. This energy or the heat that has been emitted is trapped inside the car and cannot pass back through the windshield, causing the inside of the car to get warmer. This is also a simple example. If you park your car in a heat or in a sun, the inside gets warmer. This is because once this light is entering through the windshield, it is making the place or inside the car warm. This is a simple example. As I told you, now if you take an example of a greenhouse, the greenhouse acts as the chamber acts as a globe or the earth. Now, what is global warming? Global warming, as the name itself suggests, global is something related to the earth, it's getting warmer. Global warming is the increase of earth's average surface temperature due to the effect of greenhouse gases. Because of the greenhouse gases, the temperature is getting warmer day by day. Such as carbon dioxide emission from burning fossil fuels or from deforestation, which trap heat that would otherwise escape from the earth. This is a type of greenhouse effect. Here the greenhouse which I have told you will depict the greenhouse gases. There are some gases which are used to trap the light. You have to remember this greenhouse gases, which is very very important. And I have to make one thing clear from this topic. Most of the time the questions are being asked from the greenhouse effects. The most of the questions are being asked. I mean, one question, at least one question will be there from this topic. You have to remember the greenhouse gases includes carbon dioxide. It is 60%. It contributes 60%. Methane contributes 20%. CFCs are 14%. Dinitrogen oxide, that is N2O, is also a greenhouse gases which is present in the 6%. That is represented in a that is graphically also represented. Kindly note this. The number or the percentage is very important. 80% is contributed by carbon dioxide and methane. This is 60% and this is 20%. Totally it is 80%. So 80% is contributed by carbon dioxide and methane. Even the CFCs are 14%. Dinitrogen oxide, or it is also called as N2O. You can write it either way, N2O. So these are the gases which you have to remember. Next, look at the picture. This is in your NCERT, which explains the greenhouse effect and the global warming. Here this is the earth surface or the earth. It represents the earth, and what is happening is, as I told you, this is representing the earth. From the sun the light falls on the earth, and as I mentioned, some light goes back. So what is happening now? The sun is emitting its radiations. It is getting into the earth. Only some radiations after the utilization, this is being sent out. This would have been the general concept if there is no green gases. I'll explain you how. The sun is emitting its radiation or the light that is getting into the earth or the globe. This is being utilized by the plants, animals and all the microorganism which is light dependent. It is being used, and after usage the extra light which is there is sent out. But if there is presence of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, CFCs or N2O, what is happening here is the light that is being emitted back, the extra light or the extra energy that has been emitted back is getting trapped by the greenhouse gases. When it is trapped by the greenhouse gases, this is not this is again sending the radiation or the energy to the earth. This is happening in a cyclic process. Again the extra light or the extra heat what is in the earth is sent back. Again it is trapped by the greenhouse gases. Again it is sending back to the earth, making the earth warmer. When there is no escape of the extra energy or extra temperature which is going back, it is always coming back to the earth, making the surface, obviously it makes the temperature warmer. This is how the temperature keeps on raising. Think if there is no greenhouse gases, and not even the only the energies from the earth, even the radiations are reflected back. Even the radiations get reflected back. When the radiations are getting reflected back in the form of infrared, and these infrared is also caught back by the greenhouse gases and sent back to the earth's surface. So this is also one problematic thing. When infrared radiations are sending back, again this is getting trapped by the greenhouse gases, and this dangerous infrared rays is again getting back to the earth. This is how this is making the temperature getting warmer day by day. But now for example, if there is no effect of greenhouse gases, think there is no greenhouse gases, the temperature of the earth would have been so chilling, it would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. If there is no greenhouse gases present, the temperature of the earth would have been minus 18 degrees Celsius. Light that is emitted So this is how the concept that has been explained. Light being emitted, used by the plants, animals, and the leftover would have been taken back. This would have been simple. But due to the greenhouse gases, the heat is being trapped, or the extra energy is being trapped. Again it is sent back to the earth, making the temperature warmer. But now, due to all these greenhouse gases, mean temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. In your NCERT textbook, it is given 15 degrees Celsius. This is a very old data. But now the temperature would have been, the mean temperature is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Now it's becoming very tough to survive because of all these greenhouse gases getting increased. In the last 100 years, the increment is 0.6 degrees Celsius. So in the last 100 years, the increment is 0.6 degrees Celsius, but from the last 30 years, it is getting worse and the temperature is rising. You may just think it is just a 0 degrees Celsius, but the impact here is very much greater. There is lot of climatic fluctuations that has been happening. This climatic fluctuation is called as El Nino effect. The climatic fluctuation is called as a El Nino effect. So what is the exact definition is, El Nino affects the global climate and disrupts normal weather patterns, which are as result can lead to the intense storms in some places and drought in other places. This has been simply told as climatic fluctuation is called as a El Nino effect. Lot of scientists claimed that due to global warming, there is a lot of climatic fluctuation that has been happening and the glaciers are getting melted. So this is very commonly known, and it is also seen, that is the melting of ice caps or melting of polar ice caps, as well as the other places like the Himalayan snow caps is also being melted because of this global warming. When the temperature increases, for example, even when a temperature increases, even the refrigerator ice also starts melting. This is just a common example. Over many years, this will result in the rise of sea level that can submerge many of the coastal areas. The total spectrum of change the global warming can bring about is a subject that is still under the active research. So what are the effects? I have already told. The effects are rising in the sea level. When obviously ice starts melting, there is a rising in the sea level, increased temperature, habitat damage and species are being affected, and there is also changes in water supply. These are some of the changes that is happening. So what is the proof? You can see the polar bear here. This is because of the melting of polar ice caps. What can we do to help or to solve this problem is stop cutting off trees. This is a simple thing that can be done. Or the measures includes cutting down the use of fossil fuel, improving the efficiency of energy usage, reducing deforestation, planting trees, and slowing down the growth of human population. These are some of the some of the little contributions that we can do. International initiatives are also being taken to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So these are the little things that can be done to reduce this greenhouse gases. In this video, we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is ozone depletion in the stratosphere. So here, this is the Mother Earth. This is a Mother Earth, and there are different atmospheric layers called as, above the Mother Earth there is a different atmospheric layers. This is called as a troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere. This thermosphere, it is also called as ionosphere. It has two names. It is called as thermosphere, or it is also called as a ionosphere. And next is exosphere. So these are the different atmospheric layer. Here in this topic we are mostly dealing with the stratosphere, because the heading is ozone depletion in the stratosphere. This troposphere and stratosphere contains ozone. Ozone is represented by O3. Even in troposphere we have ozone, and the stratosphere also has ozone. We will be talking about the stratosphere because though both layers or the atmospheric layers contains ozone, troposphere contains the bad ozone and stratosphere contains the good ozone. As we are talking, if the depletion is happening in the troposphere, if bad ozone is getting depleted, we need not to worry much about it. But good ozone is being depleted. Good ozone, that is in the stratosphere, it is getting depleted. We are worried about this depletion in the stratosphere. Why is this depletion happening? What are the causes for this depletion? We'll be knowing it little later. So here in your earlier classes, you might have studied about the bad ozone and the good ozone in the stratosphere. Here we are concerned with the good ozone, which is being depleted day by day. So before that, what is ozone? Ozone or trioxygen, that is 3 molecules of oxygen constitutes an ozone. Ozone or trioxygen is a chemical with the symbol of O3. This means one molecule of ozone is made up of 3 oxygen or 3 oxygen atoms. Ozone is also called as trioxygen. The ozone layer also absorbs a lot of heat from the sun's rays. So what is happening here is, it is as I told you, it is called as a good ozone. There is a sun here, for example, there is a sun, there are different layers, 5 layers, there are different layers. If this is here, if this is Mother Earth, this will be troposphere, this will be stratosphere. We are talking about the stratosphere depletion. If sun is emitting its radiation, this falls on the stratosphere. If this is falling on the stratosphere, it absorbs the harmful radiation. If this is the stratosphere, if this is a sun, all the radiations will not fall on the earth layer. Some of the radiations are absorbed by the stratosphere. Some radiations are absorbed by the stratosphere and then it is emitted to the earth. When sun is emitting its radiation, it also emits the harmful radiations like UV radiations. So before striking the earth's surface, they strike the ozone surface. There some radiations are observed. It can be UV radiation get absorbed. As you all know, UV radiation is very toxic and harmful for all of us. So this is a simple concept. All the sun's radiation will not fall on the earth. That some of the harmful radiations and some of the radiations will be absorbed by the stratosphere. So that is a good ozone layer will absorbs the harmful radiations like UV radiations, and it will avoid that harmful radiations falling on the earth. So it is protecting the mankind or animals, or it is protecting the earth. So this is doing its great job. But when this gets depleted, these harmful rays will fall on the earth's surface. So this is the general concept you have to remember. Next, the stratosphere or good ozone layer extends upwards from about 60 to 30 miles and protects life on earth from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiations. This I have explained. So it will avoid UV radiation falling on the earth. This stratosphere will hold or absorbs this harmful radiation. So this is doing its great job, as I have told you. Next, why is UV radiation harmful for all of us? This you have to know. When stratosphere is not getting thinned, this will absorb UV radiation. If it is getting thin, if the ozone layer or the stratospheric layer is getting depleted, harmful rays usually falls on the earth. If that UV rays falls on the earth, what are the causes? The causes are it acts on proteins and DNA. Its high energy breaks the chemical bonds within these molecule. So what is happening here? When these UV radiations is absorbed by the DNA which is present in us, we all have a DNA and proteins, we are made up of DNAs. So when this is absorbed, when UV radiation falls on the DNA and protein, this will absorb the UV radiation. It is very easily absorbed. Due to this high radiations or the energy, the bond between the biomolecules get broken down. For example, DNA has thymine. You all know DNA has thymine and it pairs with adenine. So this is the concept. DNA has a thymine and it pairs with adenine. You all be knowing it, with the double bond it will get attached. Next, what will happen to cytosine? C will bind to G with triple bond. So this is the process that DNA pairing is happening. But when these radiations are absorbed by the DNA, pairing might go wrong. Now what happens is T will not get attached to A. Instead, this T will bind to T only. It is not getting binded to the adenine. Instead, thymine is only getting binded to the thymine. So now this DNA structure is abrupt, it is disturbed. T will bind with T only, forming thymine dimer. So hence, when these things are happening, it is causing a mutation. This errors is responsible for causing a cancer, or abnormality can be caused by this mutation. So these are the problematic things when UV radiation is absorbed by the DNA or protein. So this stratosphere layer or this ozone, good ozone layer will absorb the UV radiation. This is a concept. Now, I hope you have understood with this how the bonds are broken down, how proteins and the DNA are disturbed has been explained. Next, you can see this picture. A man holding an umbrella. As an umbrella protects us from rain, or if there is more of heat, if we have an umbrella, that will protect us from an heat, or if there is a rain, this umbrella will protect us from the rain. In the same way, ozone protects the earth from these harmful radiation. This good ozone is getting depleted, thus making the entry of all harmful radiation on the earth. This is the simple concept which you can easily understand. Here a man is holding an umbrella to protect himself from the rain. If the umbrella has a holes, easily he can get drenched. In the same way, if the ozone is getting depleted, here the man is considered as a earth. This umbrella is considered as a stratosphere, good ozone layer. If this is getting depleted, this harmful radiations will easily enter the earth, causing a disturbance to the ecosystem. So this is a simple concept. Next, since the layer of ozone is protecting us from the harmful radiation, it is called as good ozone. So this is a ozone layer getting depleted. Ozone gas is continuously formed by the action of UV rays on molecular oxygen and also degrade into the molecular oxygen in the stratosphere. There should be a balance between production and degradation of ozone in the stratosphere. I will be explaining it in a simple term. For example, as I have told you, the stratosphere layer will contain O3. Now the stratosphere is having an O3. When UV radiation is when UV radiation falls on the stratosphere, sun is emitting the radiations. When these harmful radiation is absorbed by the stratospheric layer, this O3, that is ozone, is getting converted to O2. It will get converted to O2. And later what happens, again when a UV rays falls on this ozone layer, it will get converted to O3. So this is a stabilized process that is happening, or you can tell it as a reversible reaction. How you can tell this reversible reaction is O3 gets converted to O2. Again when UV rays falls, it will again get converted to O3. This is the reversible reaction or a balanced reaction that is happening in the stratosphere. So ozone layer absorbs UV radiation, converts to O2, and again this O2 with the help of UV radiation converts O2 to O3, that is ozone again. So this is the reversible reaction and balanced process. So this is the property of UV radiation and ozone layer. If this is happening, and you might think oxygen is very good, so what happens if there is more oxygen that has been present in the stratosphere? No, oxygen is not required in the stratosphere. O3 should be there in the stratosphere. It is called as a ozone layer, not an oxygen layer. So the ozone layer or the stratosphere should have O3, not an O2. When these radiations are being absorbed, this is getting converted O3 to O2, O2 to O3. So this is a stabilized reaction that will be happening if everything good is in the stratosphere. Next, I hope you have understood the simple concept. Next is the exact topic. We'll be knowing this topic in detail when it is absorbing, when the stratosphere is absorbing the sunlight or the radiations, it is getting converted, the balanced process is happening. When is this depletion happening? For example, you have heard about CFCs, that is this depletion of the ozone layer occurs due to the increased level of CFCs. CFCs react with UV rays in the stratosphere to release chlorine atoms. This leads to the thinning of ozone layer. As a result, harmful radiations enter the Earth's atmosphere. CFCs find wide use in refrigerants. You have CFCs were mostly used in the refrigerators, ACs. So these are some of the applications where CFCs were used. So what is happening now? CFC, what is the full form? CFC means it is chlorofluorocarbons. Chloro in the sense it is chlorine, fluoro is fluorine, and carbons. This together is forming a CFC. When this chlorine will promote the reaction where ozone converts to oxygen and imbalances the reaction. I will be explaining it in detail. CFC, before that, CFC are short for the compounds. I have already told CFC stands for chlorofluorocarbons, which contains carbon, chlorine and fluorine. This carbon, chlorine and fluorine will together form CFCs. So this chlorofluorocarbons are more commonly referred to as CFCs. When ultraviolet rays or the waves strikes CFC molecule in the upper atmosphere, the carbon-chlorine bond breaks, producing a chlorine atom. The chlorine atom then reacts with the ozone, that is O3 molecule, breaking it apart and so destroying the ozone. This forms an ordinary oxygen molecule, that is O2 is formed, and a chlorine monoxide molecule. Then a free oxygen atom breaks up the chlorine monoxide. The chlorine is free to repeat the process and destroying more ozone molecule. A single CFC molecule can destroy more number of ozone molecules. So, I will be explaining this in detail. After I explain, if you go through this, you will feel easy and you will be understood with the concept. Okay. Now I hope you have understood what is CFC full form. It is chlorofluorocarbons that contains chlorine, fluorine and carbons. What happens here is, if this is a earth atmosphere, this CFC will pass to the first layer, that is troposphere. As there is a inert gases in the troposphere, it will not cause much problem to that layer. After many years, it will pass through to the stratosphere. It is the troposphere, this is the stratosphere. When this CFC is in the stratosphere, it is causing a problem. When you should understand the reaction which I have told you before, that this is a reversible reaction should be understood. If that concept is understood to you, then you can understand the simple concept. So, CFC released will reach the stratosphere. In stratosphere, UV rays acts on them, releasing a chlorine atom. So, CFC, here here from the sun, UV radiation falls on the stratosphere. This UV radiation will, CFC will have chlorine, fluorine and carbons. So, this UV radiation will break the bond separating the chlorine, fluorine and carbons. These are all separated. This chlorine is causing a problematic to the stratosphere. When UV radiations falls on this stratosphere and when this CFC reaches the stratosphere, these bonds are broken down to release the chlorine atom. Now, CFC released will reach the stratosphere. How this? So, now this chlorine atom which is separated or which is broken down, this chlorine atom will act as a catalyst. So, what is catalyst? You all be knowing about the catalyst. With this catalyst, what happens is it increases the reaction rate without getting consumed. That is the property of a catalyst. When I tell you this chlorine acts as a catalyst, you have to remember this will enhance the rate of the reaction, or it will increase the rate of the reaction without getting consumed. In the same way, chlorine acts as a catalyst and increase the rate of this reaction without being consumed in the reaction. Hence, whatever CFCs are added to the stratosphere, they have permanent and continuous effect on ozone layer. Now, you might think, when O2 is more in the stratosphere, then it is good because oxygen is more. As I told you, the stratosphere requires O3, not O2. So, this is affecting the stratosphere layer. In the simple concept, how I can explain this is, this Cl is now acting as a it is acting as a catalyst. There you might have known this reaction, O3 that gets converted to O2. This O2 is getting converted to O3 by the UV radiations. This I have already explained. But when this chlorine reacts to this reaction, what is happening is O3 is broken down to O2. This O2, it will enhance the reaction. It is always getting converted. O3 will always get converted to oxygen. O3 is always getting converted to O2, O2, O2. This is how the repeated reaction is happening. Again it will get converted to O3. But this chlorine atom or this chlorine ion will enhance the reaction. And another example I can give you. If 4 CFCs if 4 CFCs are released, when 4 CFCs reaches the stratosphere, it is just an example, when these 4 CFCs reach an stratosphere, as I told you, the bonds between them break down. So now what happens when a bond is broken down? This contains 4 atoms, 4 chlorine, 4 molecules of fluorine, 4 molecules of carbon. So we will not bother about the fluorine or carbon here, we will be seeing to the chlorine. So when 4 CFCs reach the stratosphere, 4 chlorine ions are released, or 4 chlorine ion is formed. These 4 chloride ions are breaking 4 ozone. When these 4 chlorine ions will break down 4 O3. So now these 4 chloride ions, when 4 chlorine ions are breaking 4 ozone molecules, now what happens is, now these 4 chloride ions remain as it is. As I told you, it is not consumed, it is acting as a catalyst, it will enhance the reaction, that reaction is enhanced, but it is not getting consumed. Chlorine will remain there for many years, it will not get vanished. After it completes the reaction, the chlorine ions remains there only for many years, for 100 years they will remain in the stratosphere. Now these 4 chloride ions remain as it is, it will not be broken down after its process. Now 4 chloride ions are in the stratosphere. CFCs, so 4 are already in the stratosphere. This 4 is already in the stratosphere. It is always enhancing the reaction, where O3 is getting broken down to O2. The reaction is continuous and continuous. 4 is already there, it is not being consumed. Again CFCs are passing to the atmosphere. Again it is increasing. Day by day this chlorine ion is getting accumulated in the stratosphere. This is always getting increased in the stratosphere, and when O3 is getting converted or depleted to oxygen, this O3 layer is getting depleted. When ozone is getting depleted, the layer is also getting depleted. This is simple. This CFCs, chlorine will reach the stratosphere, the bond is broken down. This chlorine ion acts as a catalyst. This catalytic reaction, it is happening is, it will enhance the reaction and chlorine is not consumed. It is in the stratosphere for many years. Again the CFCs move from the earth's surface to the stratosphere. Again the chlorine atom get accumulated in the stratosphere, eating up all the ozones, or converting up all the ozones. So when this ozone is getting depleted, the layer is also getting depleted simultaneously. Hope this concept is clear now for you. When day by day O3 is getting depleted, hence that is O3 is decreasing and oxygen is increasing, making the ozone or O3 getting depleted day by day. So this is the simple concept. Next, depleted in the sense it is not creating a through and through hole. If this is the ozone layer, if it is this much thick, when O3 is getting depleted, it is getting thin. Day by day it is getting thin. So this can be measured. For the measurement of ozone, to measure the thickness of the ozone, it is measured in terms of Dobson's unit. You have to remember this, this is very important. So the thickness of the ozone in a column of air from the ground to the top of the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson's unit. It is measured or it is represented by du, which is Dobson's unit. And in your NC, although ozone depletion is occurring widely in the stratosphere, the depletion is particularly marked over the Antarctic region. This is resulted in the formation of large area of thinned ozone, commonly called as a ozone hole. In your NCERT textbook, you have this diagram. Ozone hole is the area above the Antarctica that is shown in the purple layer. This purple layer depletes the, it is showing the purple color represents the ozone, where the ozone layer is thinnest. You can see the red layer to the purple layer. It is very thinnest. So, ozone thickness is given in Dobson's unit. See carefully, the ozone hole over Antarctica develops each year between late August and early October. So, this is how it is getting thin. Ozone hole, as a name itself suggests, it is ozone layer is getting depleted and it is becoming thin. It is not through and through hole. Nothing can pass through. It is not that type of hole. When ozone layer is getting depleted in the size, it is termed as ozone hole. Although ozone depletion is occurring widely in the stratosphere, the depletion is particularly marked over the Antarctica region. This has resulted in a formation of large area of thinned ozone layer, commonly called as ozone hole. When this thinning of the stratosphere is happening, then it is called as a ozone hole. You can see that diagram which I have already told you, that is in the NCERT textbook. And this ozone hole was first discovered in May 1985 in Antarctica. This was first seen. This ozone hole was first seen in Antarctica, from the Antarctica region. It was discovered in May 1985. And in 2017, NASA announced it is expected to recover around 2070 if no more pollutants are reaching the Antarctica or no clouds are forming. That is a different topic. Formation of different types of clouds you can see. So, need not to worry much about it. The estimation is by 2070, it is announced, NASA has announced it is expected to recover around 2070. This is about the Antarctica, which is in your NCERT textbook. But this is for the general information apart from the NCERT. Even there was a hole in Arctic region. Arctic zone had a ozone depletion, but records have confirmed ozone hole over Arctic is now healed and closed. This is the latest information which is given, that the Arctic, in the Arctic side the ozone hole is recovered, but not in the Antarctic. The ozone layer, so this is about the information. Next, why is it important to protect the ozone layer? Now, you might have understood the concept, how the UV radiations or harmful radiations is being trapped by the stratosphere. When CFC is released or any pollutants like halogen gases are released to the atmosphere, it reaches the stratosphere, it will enhances the reaction and makes the depletion of O3, and because of converting it to the O2. And this chlorine acts as a catalyst which enhances the reaction, and that reaction is being disturbed where O3 is getting depleted in the stratosphere. When this O3 is getting depleted in the stratosphere, it will the radiation from the sun cannot be mostly absorbed by the stratosphere, as the layer is getting thin. The harmful radiation can easily penetrate to the Earth's surface, causing a problematic. The problems I have already told you little, that is the UV radiations can be absorbed by the DNA and protein and causes a mutation. That is one of the thing. And here it is important to protect the ozone layer, because when the UV radiations penetrates to the Earth, that causes a damage to the DNA, causes mutation, various skin cancers are caused, aging of the skin is caused, inflammation of the cornea is being caused. This inflammation is called as a snow blindness, cataract is caused, and this exposure can permanently damage the cornea. There are different types of UV radiations like UVA radiation, that is ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B and ultraviolet C. Need not to worry much about it here. UVA and UVB are the harmful radiations, and that is emitted by the sun's radiation, that should be trapped by the ozone layer, but when it is getting depleted, this will penetrate the earth's surface, causing a problem. When this UV radiation, UVA and UVB, can be easily absorbed by the skin. When this is absorbed by the skin, it damages the DNA and causes a mutation. When these mutation happens, different types of cancer, we are prone to different kinds of cancer, and it will enhance the aging process. So this is what happens when our skin absorbs the UV radiation. And UVC radiation, it is not emitted by the sun, it is a man-made due to the manufacturing of the mercuries and all, need not to worry much about it. But here you have to remember, when UVB radiation is absorbed by the skin, it is easily absorbed by the skin. UVB radiation, it is easily absorbed by the skin, and it damages the DNA, causing a mutation, and we are prone to different kinds of cancer. And also it enhances the aging process, that is aging of the skin will be happening. When the eye absorbs this UV radiation, what happens is, that is when we are more exposed to this UV radiation, it not only damages our skin, it also damages the cornea, that is eye. It can cause a cataract, and also it can cause a inflammation of the cornea, leading to the snow blindness. So where if we are more exposed to this UV radiation, can permanently damage the cornea. These are some of the effects if we are prone to this harmful UV radiation. So this is very important topic and a simple topic. Next, so when depletion happens, these radiations can easily enter the earth. That you have to remember, when the depletion is happening in the ozone layer, it can be easily, this harmful radiation will easily enter the earth's surface, causing a problem. So what happens is, the recognizing the deleterious effect of the ozone depletion, an international treaty known as Montreal Protocol was signed at Montreal, that is in Canada, in 1987, but it effectively passed in the year 1989. So this was signed, that is Montreal Protocol was signed in 1987. The question can be asked, when was the Montreal Protocol was signed? It is in the year 1987, but that was agreed, or it came into the force in the year 1989, that is 1st January 1989 it was into the force, but it was signed in the year that is on 16th September 1987. So these are the important concepts you have to remember. To control this emission, this protocol was made, or this treaty was made. Now that different measures that are taking place, CFC uses have been limited. Now refrigerators, what we have that do not much contains the CFCs, as CFCs are banned. So these are the simple things that can be done. These are the CFCs is also a harmful gases, that is a greenhouse gases. So all these should be stopped to protect our Mother Earth. And separately for this process, the developing countries have reduced the emissions of CFCs, and other ozone depleting chemicals are being banned, or it is limited. So Earth without the ozone is like a house without a roof. So kindly save the ozone layer. Thank you.